Hello, Flosstube, and welcome to my channel. It's been another month. Hopefully you've gotten lots of stitching in and been able to peruse the whole upcoming market of the new releases. I haven't looked into it at all. I don't need to be tempted too much, so we'll just wait until it comes out and then we'll see what I'm going to end up doing. So yeah, that's where I'm standing on that. It is a Monday today, I think the 29th of January. It's past the ice. I know a lot of the people in the US ended up with some kind of nasty winter weather. So temperatures very cold, snow, ice, all of that. Very few of us escaped that. I live in Oregon and we got ice mostly. So when it came down, it either came down as sleet or freezing rain. And so it just pretty much coated things in ice. I'm like halfway between Portland and the coast, so I didn't get some of the stuff that the east side of Portland got. A little worse, and they actually got a third wave of it, and we only ended up with 2 waves, but it affected us enough. We lost power for about 3 hours when it first started coming down, but not too bad. That's doable. It did affect a lot of businesses. Where I work, we actually stayed closed for 2 days, which were open 7 days. So 2 days we were closed, then 2 more days. It was still kind of iffy for driving. Worked 1 full day, and then the next day we closed early because the second wave was planning to hit in early afternoon. So it did affect the businesses, but you know, it wasn't too bad. It seemed to clear up pretty well after that for us. So hopefully where you live it wasn't too bad. I know some areas are more have more equipment to deal with this, and so they're able to get roads taken care of faster. We are not, unfortunately. So when it hits, we either have to wait for it to melt or just be adventuresome. So with that all out of the way, I don't think there's really any other life things going on that have been happening in this last month. So that's about all there is for that. I think we're going to go ahead and just jump right into a whole bunch of different kinds of stitching, show and tell, as well as news and things going on. So let's do that. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about, and it is stitching related, is I last year kept a book and journal basically of what I stitched, basically what days and whatnot. So the book of days, you know, you've seen those things before. So you've got, it's basically a whole month that you put your information down, and I wrote down what I worked on each day. So I wanted to do the same kind of thing, but I wanted to change it up a bit. And so I ended up making one of my own, and I just wanted to show you real quick what I ended up doing. As you know, I had done happy planners or those kinds of planners, and so I ended up having, like, I've got a hard plastic cover, and I ended up using that kind of thing to put it all together, to bind it. So it's kind of one of the big ones. And what I have is 3 different things. I have the calendar, like what I just showed you in the book of days, but then I also have a way to keep track of what was in different project bags, because we all know we stick them in project bags, and then sometimes we're like, I wonder which bag that project is in, and you just don't remember. So I did that. And then I also have some pages for more specific information about each project. So I don't keep anything in the bag about, you know, the designer, the fabric I used, all that kind of stuff. I don't usually keep all of that stuff in the bag, so I have it on a separate sheet of paper. So first thing I'm going to show you is, this is the project bag keeper information. Now, I don't know how much you can tell in here, but this is vinyl, and it's on a piece of paper, so it's a cardstock. So here's the back side. It's kind of this white and goldish. But I have sewn, zigzagged, I don't know, there you go. zigzagged this vinyl and then made pockets for them. So these papers sit inside of these pockets. And all it is just a piece of paper. It says what the project is and what bag I put it in. It's very simple. That's all I'm doing, but it gives me that. And the reason I've made these little pockets like here, because I don't need a lot of information, is that when I finish a project that's in that bag, I can just take that piece of paper out and throw it away and make a new one and put it there. So I really like this as an idea to help me keep an idea of what I've got where. If I end up, now right now this is all I have written down. I have more whips than this, but these are the ones I'm working on right now. If I ever end up having more than this that I was getting my hands on a little bit more consistently, I can make another one of these sheets and have basically 2 sheets. I was not super paper conscious when I made these because I didn't want to figure out which things needed to go on the front of the page and the backs of the page and whatnot, so it was just consistent. And also I didn't know how much it was going to bleed because I wasn't using super thick paper or anything, and whether it's a pen, a marker, or whatever, I didn't want it to bleed onto the back side and therefore into the next month. So I just printed it on one side of each page. Each month has 2 pages, so it opens up like this. And I have usually some kind of little picture and a saying on one page and a picture and a saying on another page. So it's usually some kind of encouragement thing. So the first one says, don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant. And the other one is, no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. So it's kind of like some little encouragement notes on each of the pages. So as you can see, I'm almost done with the month, and as we mentioned, it's the 29th. We're almost done there as well. And so then we will move into the next one, and because February got Valentine's Day in it, I'll show you what I did for that month. So each month has a different quote and a different picture. So a little bit more heart-related things on there. So that is what I am doing for the month to keep track of what I stitched. And then I did something pretty simple. Let me find a page that doesn't have writing on it so it's a little bit easier to look at instead of being distracted by what project I have. I did this. So this has enough for 2 different projects. So it's got the name of the pattern, the designer. Then I put in here things like start and finish date, the fabric I'm using, what count it is. Also, what I'm stitching it with. Is it 1 thread or 2 threads? Any floss substitutions, and then other info that I might want to take note of for the stitching itself, or maybe I'm going to write down what I did to FFOA. So whatever I want to put in there. So that is what I have for these pages. And that is all I have in it. It's not like, page after page of different kinds of things. It just kind of helps me keep track of what I have been stitching. And that way I know, am I really getting my hands on everything? Or how often do I keep going back to this particular project? So that is what I am doing for my stitching journal, just in case you wanted to have some kind of ideas. And I know it's already in January and you're like, well, I'm already into this year. Well, you could still do something like this. We still have, 11 more months of this year. So kind of how you want to think of that. One of the things I ended up doing, and yes, this is kind of life related, but stitching related too, is I made a comment on Beth's post that she did. I think it was through Instagram. And so that's her string sampler. Yes. And she, commented back and thanking me for the comment, and then said, are you interested in being part of the Mountain Stitchers group? So we have a Pacific Northwest Stitchers group, and that was, more of the people around Portland or close to it. Some people had come quite far, like people near Seattle were coming down. Not that they aren't part of the Pacific Northwest, but it seemed like a lot of people that were coming to Acorns and Threads, it was a lot of those types of people that were joining that group, and it kind of has spread out a little bit. So this one that Beth was doing, she lives closer to Mount Hood, and so that's why she was calling it Mountain Stitchers. And I said, sure, I'd love to do that. And then she said they have a monthly get together, and it's closer to where she lives. So for me, if I drove directly from home, it would be like an hour and a half for me to drive there. But they've been doing it on, I believe, the first Sunday of the month. And it's usually like 12:30. Well, we go to church pretty far just because that was our home church when we lived here before, and we really like the people there. We like the church, and so we've been going back there. So we do already drive a long ways to get to church on Sundays. Well, it's not that far for me to go from there to their gathering, their little meetup on Sundays. Since I'm already out there on Sunday, I can just drive over there and be part of that group. So I did that in January, and it was a lot of fun. We had, I'm trying to remember, maybe around 15 people or so that were there. A fun little group. We stitched probably a couple of hours. But the fun thing that we did this month, and I'm sure she's not going to do something super fun every single time, is that because it was close to Christmas, even though it was afterwards, is that we were going to have a white elephant gift exchange, and it was going to be a whip that you didn't want to stitch anymore. So that's what you were going to bring as your white elephant gift. And so we got to, you know, draw our numbers and then go to the pile and pick, and you could steal and whatnot. And we had to keep encouraging people to steal to make it more fun. That didn't happen quite as often as we thought it might, but it was a lot of fun. So I'm going to show you what I ended up getting. It wasn't actually a whip. It was something somebody brought that they just decided they weren't going to stitch at all. So that is this lovely little pillow, or whatever you want to make it into. So it's got a lot of coverage on there. Now, on the front up here, it says wool acrylic. So the threads are more like a wool. So I don't know if you can see that. They're just a little fuzzier and whatnot, but it gives you all the stuff. I love this brand of stuff, Riolis. I love it. I've done some of the other stuff with them before. So I don't know how much you can see. I haven't taken it out. So this right here is the Aida fabric. So they do give you Aida. But this right here is the backing for the pillow when you finish it. So it's going to have that really pretty backing. But that is all the stuff that you end up stitching. So I thought that was really, really pretty. But yeah, I was very happy with getting this. And I'm very happy that nobody took it from me. Though there was a lot of nice things that could easily have been happy to bring home. The other thing is that I think it was mostly Beth. I don't think anybody else did. She brought a few things. There was a lot of thread, a lot of floss, a lot of various other things. So there were some patterns, there were some, I don't know, there's a lot of different things that she didn't want anymore. So the floss was stuff a lot of times because she is a designer. She has to use floss that other people can easily get to do the projects, or if she's kitting them up, she's got to be able to have consistent floss. And so a lot of this floss was stuff that she wasn't going to be able to be consistent enough to get. And so she's a whole bunch of it that we could just go through and take. And that was lovely. So one of the things I ended up getting was this cute little pattern. So cute. So cute. So yeah, primitive hair. Winter essentials. So cute. So that was the pattern I ended up getting. And then I'll show you some of the floss I ended up coming away with. Yeah, so much pretty floss. So much pretty floss. But yeah, so nice of her to be able to share all that with everybody. So, and this is, I'm just trying to see if all of this, so most of this is the Gentle Arts floss. I don't know if there's anything else in this pile that I have. So this is all Gentle Arts, but yummy. So yummy. I really love this. This was nice. Now we're going to move on to the stitching. So whips and such. I believe I have 3 whips, 2 new starts, 1 finish, and 1 FFO. So kind of got it all. So let's get into that. Our first one that we're going to talk about, I'm trying to move my threads too so that's not in the way, is this one. This is Beloved. Running with Needle and Scissors is this. And you know what? We just talked about my book. So we're going to get it out. I'm going to get out my journal, and that way I can tell you the information about the stitches, because I'm really bad about remembering to tell you all what fabric I used, as well as any changes I made, all that stuff. So this one was pretty much done with the called for threads. I did change one. So the color on here of, let me see if I can point this out, 988, I switched to 501. It just was too funky of a color. It didn't look right. The fabric I used was from Atomic Wrench. It's 40 count Blue Ridge linen. Okay. The only other thing that I didn't do is in this picture you have a border here, but there's also a border that goes around this one. She did not have it done on this particular one, the model stitch, and I decided I liked it better without it as well. So I did not include the border for that. So let's show you what I have gotten done so far. There we go. So some of my stuff is in the way. So I've gotten quite a bit done. You can see that I have that top border pretty much done. I can't do the sides until I move it, the Q snap around. So I have worked on the alphabets, basically the center part. So I'm down to this, and I think the last time I showed you, I did not have these done yet, this part of the alphabet. Okay, so if you can see what kind of stitching there is. So that's a specialty stitch. Smyrna crosses, I believe is what they're called. Let me see if it says in here or not. Actually, is it back here? They call it an eyelet stitch. I thought it was called Smyrna cross too, but anyway, that's what that is done with. Now, I realized I had made a mistake. So there's like one, if you were to put a box in here, one of these stitches here, and over here, one of these spots between the B and C or a C and D, I did not do quite enough. So this border of these stitches is just a hair off by one thread, but it doesn't matter. You can't really tell. You really can't. So it's not I'm not worried about it. And by the time I realized it, I was like clear to the end or something. And it's like, there's no way I'm taking all that out. So that is one thing I've made an error on, but it doesn't matter. So, and then this is done with a satin stitch. I love that. It's the blue is so pretty. And then just the soft look of it. I just want to pet it all the time. So there is that one. Let me see how I'm going to do this. All right, the next one, let me find yep, it's right here. And we're going to get it out of the bag. The other one I was working on tonight, so I didn't have it in a bag. So this one is the Sam's in Stripes. I am doing it so that I am using the gold Kreinik version of it. So that's what I've done. In case you didn't see, this is the Cricut collection. Okay. Lamb's wool 32 count is what I am using. I am using nothing I think is 1/1 type of stitching. It's all over 2. And in this case, I'm using 2 threads over 1 because it's a 32. That would make it a little bit too sparse on the fabric. I don't think there was any other things that I changed. So let's just get that out and we will look at it. So here is what I've done so far. I think all of this one might have been done, but I'm not 100% sure if I had him completely finished last time. But I now have my staff, this like an eagle type of thing on there, and I am about halfway through with the flag. So that's just all blue, all just lots and lots of blue. So there's 2 star areas. Those will be in the gold Krynic, I believe, but there's 2 more. So you're going to see it's going to go up a bit more with the blue. So it just takes a long time, because I think that was like, just this alone was like around 500 stitches. So it just takes a while to get that part done. So that is what I've done so far with my Salmons and Stripes. And let's put that back, as I mentioned, so we don't have a huge mess all over the place when we're done. We all know, for those of us who film, we don't need to have a huge mess when we're finished, because it takes enough time to put all of this together to get ready for it. Let's see what the next one is. And I have, okay, the next one, let me find my front cover piece, is this one. This is Stars and Stripes. So this is a joint effort by Plum Street Samplers and Shakespeare's Peddler. So there are the 2, well, actually 3 pieces that you can stitch. I am working on this one over here. So the stripes portion of it. Now with this one, I am using Tabby Cat Linen 36 count Muddy Duck. So that's the fabric I'm using. I am only using 1 thread because it is 36, so it's not going to be too sparse. 32, jumping from 36 to 32, it just makes enough of a difference that it makes it a little bit, you know, too sparse. If you like that look and that's what you're going for, then it's perfect even on 32, but yeah, I don't. The only thing I changed was there is a Weeks Dye Works fawn thread, and I changed it to parchment because fawn matched the color of my fabric too much, and it was not the call for fabric, so that is why I ended up needing to change it. So there's what I've done so far. Move that out of the way a little bit. Gotten a lot done. So this is all filled in. It's just hard to see. It's either like this, almost this color in there, and then some of this creamy color. But I have finished off that flag. That wasn't done yet. So I got all that done. All the red is filled in. Did a little bit more of this sky and a little bit more of this stripe part here. So we're getting there. It's so pretty. Patterns like this, when you're stitching, like I was stitching all the red part first, you're like, what on earth is this going to look like? It's so weird, but it turns out so pretty. Yeah, pretty. So there is that one. We're getting along, getting down the road with that one as well. Okay, so how has everybody's stitching been going? Are you actually getting to the stitches that you want to get to? Getting bogged down with something, or you know, life kind of getting in your way from your stitching? Is it just not working out as well as you'd hoped? Yeah, how's it going? Those are the whips. I am going to now show you some new starts. So let me get to my next thing where I have it. There it is. Alrighty. This one, and I'll explain later in the video why I started this, is this. This is called Lovebirds, and again, my printer is cutting off some of this bottom part, but it's Lovebirds by Autumn Lane. Isn't that pretty? This will be perfect for, you know, stitching in February, isn't it? So pretty. So with this, I did not use the call for fabric because I didn't have it. I am using, it's just white thread. That's what all this, and then you can see some of the vein of the leaves and stuff is a color pretty much similar, pretty much matches that. And that is, I am going to use that as well. So I'm using the all the thread that's the called for. So the fabric I used It was 18 count Ada that I dyed myself. And there it is. It turned out so good. I am so pleased with the coloring that it came out to. When you dye stuff, especially when you're trying to get this mottled look, it's always, you know, a guessing game. Is it going to turn out? Is it not going to turn out? Is it going to be the color I want it to be? And I love this. So let me get the pink. So this is the floss that will go in for the vines, and it pretty much matches. It's pretty close. So that will be inside of those leaf veins. So yeah, getting there with that. So that's one of the new starts. And the next one, what do we have? Okay, so the next one, I think I might have said I only had one finish, but I have two finishes. So we're going to show you one of the finishes. Let me see where that is at. I don't know that I wrote it down. I don't think I wrote it down because I finished it so quickly in January that I didn't write all the information down for it. So I will just show you the pattern, and I did not use the call for fabric. I changed up a ton of things, like almost everything got changed on it. So that's going to be a little bit hard. I mean, as you can see, I changed up a whole bunch. Almost everything on there is different. And that was this one, Stack of Snow. So Amy Brecken Designs is what this is. An old one. I've had this forever, and it came with these little carrot button noses. So that is not fully finished, but it is finished. If you hear hissing, my cats are fighting. Oh, and now they're even like really fighting. Sorry about that. So here is the finished product. So as you can see, I used kind of this blue instead of what they had called for, and I changed all the other colors. And if you can see, there's those noses. They're so cute. So I have an idea. I just have not had time to go find something to FFO this. Lots of things going on, so I haven't really had time to do that. But I'm really looking forward to actually being able to FFO it. Just life needs to settle down a little bit. Oh, okay. So there is one finish. Let's see where I'm going to put this here. Now, the next one was a finish, but it is also a start. I don't know how I finished this so fast. I don't normally go through stuff quite this fast. So I started, I don't remember. I know it was in January, but I just finished it a couple days ago or so. So this also has an explanation that I will get to in a bit as well. Well, very soon I will get into the explanation. This one, let me move this thread here. It's kind of making it not look so pretty. Isn't this pretty? This is called Retreat Queen. Oh yeah. So it's got Kreinik in there. It's got Fancy Floss. It's got the B5200. Lots of B5200 in here. Got beads. I put in this little metal charm heart instead of stitching the heart. Oh, I love this. Now, I boo-booed on this one too, but you can't really tell. So somehow, and I was counting around here or on her face or something, I put in an extra space and stitched something over a little too far. So her chin would actually, I think, be in one row over. But you can't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't look like it. The only thing that affected was how I did the crown, because the crown would actually be one stitch in. And so I had to adjust that a little bit. But yeah, I love this. Now, I changed all of this. This is not all what it said. This had last year's year on it, and this part was pretty much the same, but all of this is different because I didn't want to put in what it said. So I will get into this part now, and I have one more stitch to show you, I believe. The reason that I did this is because I got in to the Queen City Stitch Retreat for this year. So excited. So that happens in October. This pattern was released as a freebie so that you could stitch it because you're going to the retreat. So yeah, isn't that just gorgeous? I love it. And I changed up these colors. This was not the original color. The original colors were more like a orangish and pinkish colors, and I wanted it to be what I liked. So that is all of that. I want to get a little closer so you can see so kind of the lacy look to it at the bottom. So pretty. So pretty. I also had to change up this so I matched more of the colors that worked well with what I have. And I changed the hair. So the hair is a blend of a gray and a brown because my hair is more like that. So yeah, I think I changed a few other things like, oh, so for example, I don't know if I kept it over here. I don't think I have it right handy with me. Oh, yes, I do. I know where I put it. I know where I put it. It's in my stuff with my floss. So this was the call for color for outlining the skin. The skin color, let me grab that out, was this. So I'm going to put these two together. Wow, that's quite the difference. There's no subtlety to that at all. So I did actually stitch most of the outlining with this, and I looked at it and I'm like, that looks terrible. So I switched it to this. So you can see it's a little more subtle. It outlines it just enough so you can see it, but it's not nearly as strikingly, you know, slap in your face kind of color. So I'll show you that again. So there's the outline of the skin. It looks so much better than the dark. Now, the needle and the eye was actually like, these are grays, and they were actually the lighter gray, and they were not showing up. Especially the eye, it just kind of blended into the other stitching. So I used a darker gray so it would show up a little better. But yeah, so fun, and I love it, and I can't wait to go. And the other thing I ended up finding out is some of the other people that were going, that was surprising, because I didn't tell anybody I was going to sign up for this. It was just kind of like, because it didn't seem like, from what they were explaining, first come, first serve kind of thing. It was almost like a lottery system. So you didn't know if you're going to be able to get in. So there's a gal who has bought some of my bags who lives in Hawaii, and I found out she's going to go. So I'll get to meet her. And then there's, if you all watch Amy Loves Toads, she lives on the East Coast. So the retreat takes place in North Carolina. She doesn't live in North Carolina, but she's on the East Coast. And I watch her videos, and in the last one she put out, she mentioned she was going too. I have wanted to meet her for so long, and she's gone to StitchCon before, but she's always at the other week, and so I never got to meet her. So I will get to meet her. That will be sweet and nice to be able to see her, because like I said, I haven't been able to meet her yet. So that'll be fun, finding out, you know, who will be there that I don't, you know, that I might actually know, and I didn't know they were coming. Okay, so the other finish that I have, and it is actually an FFO, was this, my pretty little Hawaii. Yes, yes. So, not only did I finish it like I mentioned, but I FFO'd it. There it is. So pretty. So this has the back pockets in it, and this is like a faux leather vinyl type of material. So you got that, and then the ends top is a zipper, and it's showing up a little more blue. It's more of a green fabric, and it's just all empty inside, but that's what I wanted. I didn't want to put any extra pockets or anything on the inside, but I love how it turned out. It's beautiful. Pretty, pretty, pretty. One of the things I ended up changing on this, and pretty much most of it I left normal, was the little tikis over here have some outlining in them to create their faces and the bodies and such. So the called for was this. When I use this, I know it's kind of hard to tell now, but when you're only using one strand, I stitched one of these tikis completely using this, and it did not show up at all. I mean, you can see it now, but it's not super glaringly, you know, stand out. This didn't show up at all, so I had to change it to this, and then it stood out enough that you could actually see it and see their faces and whatnot. So fun. Maybe I get it cooperate here. I love this thing. It's about that thick or deep, so very nice. And the reason that I ended up making, not only stitching this, but making it into a bag, because I am lucky enough that in a few months I get to go to Hawaii myself. So excited. I went to Hawaii once when I was in high school. So like 1984 is the last time I was at Hawaii. The one and only other time besides now. So I am very excited to be able to go back. It's not the same island, but it will still be lovely. And I made this so I could have it as my carry-on to put under the seat in front of me. Carry all my goodies that I need on the plane with me. So I love it. Love it. It's awesome. So I think the only thing different I did on that, if you wanted to know, was I used a black Aida fabric instead of white or anything, because I wanted it to really pop and stand out, and it does. It's really pretty. Okay, I think real quick, one of the things I wanted to show you, and I don't have a lot of this, is the new purchases. I never have that much. I think I showed you this in the last video during the little video montage of new stuff. And I wasn't necessarily going to get it, but it's part of a series. And I saw what's going to be coming out for the March one, and I loved it. And so I went back and looked at what it was again, and I'm like, I really like the series. So I got it, and that's this. So this is Fabulous Houses series, and this is number 1, Cottage Garden Samplings. So the first one was Santa's house. And because, you know, it's a series, I decided to just, you know, and I may decide not to get all of them, but I did like number 2, the castle. And number 3, like I said, looks fabulous, and I will be getting that as soon as I can get my hands on it, but not right now. Okay, so I had introduced last time that I was going to have a new segment in my videos that showed new releases. Sometimes I might show in some stuff that isn't actually new. If there's just not that many new releases, I might show some other interesting patterns just to kind of refresh our memory that those are out there. May show some other things that I know I'm going up to Acorns to do this, Acorns and Threads. And so I may show some of the things that they have in their store. Like last time I did include the fabrics and the walls of floss that they have. And, you know, if you need to get stuff, you can always call them, or if you're local, go to them. That way you can see what they have. So I have another part for that. It's not as long because, you know, the first one I hadn't really showed any new releases at all, so there might have been a lot more to do. Well, now there's some of those were still there, so I didn't need to film them again. And there's not as many new releases right now because, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is that the market is going to be happening, I believe, in March or maybe in February. I can't remember what day it is. So that's going to be coming up very soon. And so some of the designers are just holding off to do their new releases for that. And so there really isn't a whole lot of new stuff. I also learned after I had fumbled around with this the last time that I'm going to go ahead and, regardless of who is in the store, I'm just going to be talking through showing you those while I'm at the store instead of trying to do a voiceover or doing, you know, add in an AI voice, which it worked fine, but I didn't care for it as much. So I am going to go ahead and put that in here now. It's just a quick little video. I think it's only a few minutes long, so it won't be very long. And then we'll come back and do one other little thing. I believe I showed this last time, this fabulous house number 1. And now they also have number 2. Number 3 has not come out yet. Let's see. This is really kind of cool. It's called Always Forward Words to Live By series. This is number 1 by Mrs. Flossie. Very cool. Just Nan has another little mouse, Christmas Eve mouse. These are always so cute. They do come with the tail parts and the base. There's that. There's that. And our monthly weigh-in. This is January. Stitching with the Housewives. Another one you might have seen. This was Reindeer Stables. Quaint Rose Needle Arts. That's really kind of cool. Here is Let It Snow by Erica Michaels. And then we have Hello Valentine by Stitching with the Housewives. The next couple months of monthly weigh-in for February. And for March. Again, those are all Stitching with the Housewives. And then we have this, so A Prairie Year, lots of little smalls by the Prairie Schooler. Okay, now we're going to move on to one other little segment, a real quick thing. This is new. I doubt I'll be doing this every single time because what ends up happening is as I finish things, I'm going to find something to replace that stitch for that day of the week. So usually what I end up doing is every Monday I'll work on the same pattern, and every Tuesday I work on a different pattern, and every Wednesday so forth and so forth, so on. So every day has its own stitch that I'm going to work on. That just helps me keep going through things. Well, because I finished Pretty Little Hawaii and the Stack of Snowmen, I have some opening spots, and I'm going to let you decide which thing I start next. So I'm going to show you some things and you can decide what it is that I'm going to start next. They're a little eclectic because I kind of wanted it that way, so they were all the same kinds of things. And in some cases I'll show you the fabric I have to go with it. So the first option is this. So we have Autumn Blessings. This is Shannon Christine. Very cute, and I know it's kind of fallish, but I don't care. I don't have to stitch in certain seasons. And this is the fabric I'm going to use. This is, again, one that I dyed myself. I didn't have the right color brown, So I made my own. And the colors go very, very nicely with it because I checked. The next one is Welcome Spring. Okay, this is a Brenda Gervais, very springy, Eastery. And the fabric that I have to go with that I will be using is this. This is parchment, week's linen. Okay. So nothing super fancy special, but that will work for that. The next option is one of these. Aren't they cute? They're not terribly big. They're approximately, some of them are going to vary, 100 by 100 stitches. It's an average for all of them. So lots of different, I won't do all of them. I'll just pick one. But if this is the choice people would like, I don't know if this really has a name for what they're called. This pattern is called. I got a PDF of it. So we're just going to call it the ocean theme. I don't have the fabric for it out. I'm guessing I would probably use more of a white. I just don't know for sure. The next option is this. This is the Blue Flower Tudor Bee. The fabric that I am going to use for this is this. So this is Vintage Country Mocha. So that's what I'm going to use. So that is the next option. And then the last one is this. This lettuce stitch, I don't know, whatever that is called. And this is called Lion Coffee, because it actually says Lion Coffee as a brand of coffee. This is almost full coverage, so all this part gets stitched. Everything gets stitched. And it's actually a full kit. So you can see, I don't know if I will use that. I probably will, since it's full coverage, and it won't matter because it's going to all get covered up. But that is the last option. So we have, I'll go through these again, Lion Coffee. We have Tudor Bee. We have Ocean. We have Welcome Spring. And we have Autumn Blessing. So out of those, write in the comments which one you would like me to start. So kind of a little interactiveness here. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully we'll get enough comments and people actually pick. Otherwise, I mean, I can pick. That's fine. I do it all the time. But it would be kind of fun to let you guys all pick and figure out what I'm going to do next. That is everything I have. I have a feeling this is a little bit shorter video than I have had in the past, because a lot of them seem to run up to an hour. So hopefully it'll be a little shorter, because I know sometimes that makes it easier for y'all to watch. So with that, we're going to get off here so y'all can go do whatever you're going to need to do today, or go watch more videos from other people. I know sometimes when I start watching Flosstubes, I kind of get in a mood to kind of keep watching a few, and that way I watch the ones I really, really, want to make sure I don't miss. So we'll let you go to be able to do that, or whatever other things you need to actually, maybe we need to do housework and we're avoiding it. I do that sometimes too. So that, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next month. Bye.